and welcome to the practice. Let's start by flowing through sun salutations to get the energy moving in the body, the muscles loosened. So standing at the top of your mat in Tadasana, standing tall, the tailbone tucked under a little, the belly drawn back towards the spine gently. Be balanced on right and left. Feel the 4 points of each foot grounded into the mat. Lift up from your crown, heart space open and bright. Lengthen out your fingers, your arms. The energy can move with ease when we stand in Tadasana. Inhale, reach the arms back and up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, swan dive into Uttanasana, forward bend. Feel free to bend the knees. Inhale, draw the heart forward, the hands at the floor or at your shins. Exhale, step the right leg back to the lunge. Let's step back to plank pose, high push-up position. And with your exhalation, move the body forward and lower, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, roll onto the toes, downward facing dog. Feel free to walk the dog to release your leg muscles, Achilles tendons. Move into a meditative movement, lowering the heel with the exhalation. And lowering both heels down now towards the mat. Look between the hands, bend the knees onto the toes, either step or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, drawing the heart forward. Exhale, release, forward bend, legs straight or bent. Inhale, lead up with your heart. Reaching up overhead, push the hips forward gently. And exhale, hands at your heart. Inhale, float the arms back and up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, swan dive. Uttanasana, forward bend, bow the head. Inhale, draw the heart forward, flat back. Exhale, left leg back to the lunge. Step back to plank pose. Inhale at the top, engage your abdominal muscles. Exhale, move the body forward and lower. Inhale, upward facing dog, pressing the chest between the arms. Draw the shoulders back, roll under the toes, downward facing dog. Again, pausing here for several breaths. Check that your fingers are spread and you're pressing the finger pads into the mat. So help to distribute the weight around or along your palms, and it's not just on the heel of the palm. So we're protecting our wrists by distributing the weight. Just letting the head hang between the arms. Heels get close to the mat, perhaps they touch. Lift the inner arches. Bend the knees onto the toes. Look between the hands, either step or jump. Inhale, look forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold back in, either knees bent or straight. Inhale, rise to standing. Pressing the hips forward for a little back bend. With your exhalation, lower the hands to your heart. Inhale, float the arms back and up. Exhale, fold, hinge from the hips. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step or jump back to Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pausing here. If you feel discomfort, you may be on the balls of the feet with knees bent. Be mindful of your body, your wrists, your back, your hamstrings. If you feel any discomfort, modify, take a rest. You may need to come down onto the knees. The beauty of home practice is no one can see you. You can really tune into your body and do what's right. And let's lower to the knees. Exhale, sink back to child's pose. Knees separated, big toes together. Rest the forehead to the mat. Take your attention to your back, the length in your spine. Let's walk the hands up and sit on our bottom. So let's practice seated pigeon. So taking the legs out in front and sit in Dandasana, staff pose. So really lifting up from your hips. Neutral spine, belly engaged. This is a pose in of itself. And let's bend the left leg and take the foot to the top of the right thigh. Seated pigeon. The hand behind, underneath the shoulders. Let's bend the right leg and place the foot onto the mat. Press into the hands behind, draw the shoulders back away from the ears. So we're using our hands on the floor and pushing our left knee away as leverage. Feel that hip opening and buttock stretched. Pausing here for a few breaths. Go within and be aware of where you feel the stretch and opening. If you have any issues with your knee, gently push through the heel and flex back the toes. And that way you engage the muscles and protect the knee joint. From here, let's lift into three-legged tabletop. So pressing into the right foot, open the chest and lift the hips into the air. Release the head back. And with your exhalation, lower the buttocks to the floor and lengthen the leg out. Take the right foot down, and so take the left foot down, I'm doing mirror image, and bring the right foot by the left buttock. So we're going to do half boat pose. So lift tall, we start to lean back, keeping our spine long. Lift the left leg, the arms out at shoulder height. Notice the abdominal muscles, core muscles, engage. Soft gaze, keep the breath flowing. With your exhalation, bend the knee and come back to a seated position. Heron Pose, interlace the fingers under the ball of the left foot. Keep your sitting bones grounded. And inhale, straighten the leg, gently pushing through the heel and flexing back the toes. So we're aiming to straighten the leg, so you might like to hold onto the calf if you've still got a bent leg. So we all have different anatomical structures, so the way our joints fit into their sockets can be different from one person to the other. So not every pose will look the same. So from here, take hold of the outside edge of your left foot with your right hand. Keep the spine tall, inhale, and exhale, take the left arm out to the side. So we're twisting, keeping the chest open, looking round. Breath smooth and even. Exhale, release. Taking both hands to the foot and bend and lower. Let's do a twist from here. Taking left hand behind, hug the thigh into the chest with your right arm. Lift tall, inhale, and exhale. Let's twist round to the left. With your exhalation, untwist. release. So taking the left foot forward and the right foot forward, let's swing that left leg around in preparation for Pigeon Pose. So I'll do a side on view for you. It's a lovely hip opener. So taking the hands either side of the hip, check that your hips are level, so we don't want to be on our right buttock. We want to level off the hips. You can place a pillow under your right buttock if you feel any discomfort, and that will keep you lifted and supported. So I invite you to practice a quadricep stretch. So we're bending the left knee, right hand by the hip, take hold of the left foot with your left hand. If it's okay for you, taking hold of the toes and turning the elbow up. So we're lifting the foot towards the back. Lift the chin, gazing up. Find equanimity in this pose. Follow the breath to that place of peace, where all is well. And with your exhalation, release the leg. We're going to fold forward. So from here, walking the hands forward, taking the forehead to the mat, or for more support, take one arm over the other to create some lift and place your forehead on the back of the arm. Roll the left hip down, relax your back. Notice how you feel emotionally as you pause in this posture. The hips are known to be our emotional storage bags. And sometimes it can bring up certain emotions when we're in these hip opening poses. Just observe. The higher self observes no wrong or right. Allow the neck, the muscles at the base of the shoulders to relax. Allow yourself to soften in this posture. Let's gently release. Taking the hands underneath the shoulders, curl the left toes under and lift up and back into downward facing dog, lifting the right leg into the air, giving it a good shake. Feel free to practice three-legged downward dog, rolling the right hip open and looking out from under your right armpit. Let's roll the right hip down and lower the right leg, lowering down to the knees, cross at the ankles and come back to sit on your bottom. So we're going to do the other side now. So taking the right foot to the top of the left thigh. Again, I'm doing mirror image. So we're preparing for seated pigeon. So the hands behind under the shoulders, bending the left leg. Press into the hand. Any knee issues, gently push through the heel and flex back the toes of your right foot. Push the right knee away. Feel that hip opening, back stretch. If you'd like to close down your eyes, practice pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses. Be aware of the messages from your body. open the eyes. Three-legged tabletop. Press into the hands, open the chest, press into the left foot. Inhale, lift the hips off the floor, release the head back. It's invigorating to open the front body. And exhale, gently lower the bottom down. Straightening out the leg. So taking the left foot to the left side and the right foot, we're taking the right foot down and taking the left foot to the right buttock. So let's prepare for half boat pose. Lifting tall, neutral spine. Inhale, begin to lean back, lifting right leg into the air, the arms out, parallel to the floor. Keep lifting tall, engaging the band of muscles around your torso, the core muscles. Helps improve posture, digestion, vitality. Exhale, release. Ground the sitting bones. Interlace the fingers behind the right foot. And with your inhalation, straighten the leg for Heron Pose. If there's still a little bend, take hold the calf, the back of the leg. If you have a strap, you can place it around the ball of the foot and take hold of the strap each side. Neutral spine, smooth, even breath. Let's take hold of the outside edge of the foot with the opposite hand. Inhale, opening out to the right. Gazing at the back hand. With your exhalation, let's come back to the center and bend and lower the foot. Let's prepare for the twist. So taking the right hand behind, the left arm hugs the thigh into the chest, lift tall, inhale, and with your exhalation, let's twist round to the right, hugging the thigh in. With your exhalation, untwist, bringing the right foot forward, the left foot forward, and swing the right leg around in preparation for pigeon. So I'll do the side on view. So the quadriceps stretch, bending the right leg, keeping left hand by the hip for support, reach back to take hold of the foot. If it's okay for you, roll the elbow up and bring the foot in closer to the back. Lift chin. Looking up. Exhale, release the foot. Taking the hands either side of the hip once again, shoulder blades down the back, hips level. The forward bend, walk the hands forward, either having the arms outstretched with the forehead to the mat, or having one arm on top of the other, resting the forehead on the top hand. Roll the right hip down, the right leg in line with right hip. If you need more support, use a pillow underneath your left buttock. Bring your full attention to the present moment. Be aware of the breath. Be aware of the emotions that are triggered in this posture. You are safe, all is well. We don't want to deny how we feel, our emotions that come up. We want to observe and be compassionate. Practicing ahimsa, non-harm. Non-harm in action and deed, action and thought. So from here, let's release. Preparing to lift into downward facing dog. So really planting the hands down, the wrists parallel to the top of the mat, pressing the finger pads, spread the fingers, lift up and back into downward facing dog, lifting left leg into the air, giving the leg a good shake. Three-legged downward dog, rolling the left hip open and looking out from underneath the left armpit. Distribute the weight evenly. Roll the hip down, lowering the leg, lowering the knees, and sinking back to child's pose. Let's cross at the ankles and roll onto the bottom and lowering down to the floor. So bending the knees, the feet hip width apart, bridge pose. Inhale, lifting the tailbone and the hips off the mat. Draw the outer shoulders in, perhaps interlacing the fingers. Keeping the neck centered and still. With your exhalation, release your hands and lower the back, little by little, enjoying the release. So I invite you to practice Chakrasana, the wheel. So taking the hands behind, underneath your shoulders. Come up onto the crown of the head. And inhale, lifting the body. You might be on your toes to begin with. And then lowering the heels down when it feels right. And with the exhalation, let's lower onto the crown of the head, roll on to the back of the head, and coming back to the floor, and taking a rest breath. Close down the eyes. Maintain that communication with your body. Let's prepare for a second round, knees separated, the hands underneath the shoulders, the fingers pointing towards the body. As with all yoga, if this is not appropriate due to your wrists or other reasons, then bridge pose is a safe alternative. So let's lift onto the crown of the head if we're practicing wheel. And when you're ready, inhale, lifting into wheel. Perhaps starting with onto the toes and then lowering the heels when you're ready. exhale, lower onto the crown. Slowly, always conserving some energy to come out of the posture with awareness and control. And taking a moment to rest, perhaps letting the knees fall in. You may wish to take your hands at your belly or by your side. Allow your body to absorb the practice. And from here, hug the knees into the chest, gently rock from side to side. Roll forwards and backwards, massaging your back. And come up to a seated position in preparation for King Pigeon. So we'll take a lunge with right leg out in front and walk the right foot over to the left wrist. Lowering down to Pigeon once again. The left leg in line with the left hip. So after Chakrasana or the wheel, you may find that binding in Pigeon may be available to you now. If not, that's fine, practicing as we were before. So you might like to place a pillow underneath your right buttock, taking the hands either side of the hip, opening your heart space. You can feel that back bend, lifting the chin slightly, if that's available. Right hand stays by your hip. Let's take hold of the left foot, left ankle. You might like to stay here, or you might like to bring that foot down to the inside of your elbow. If it's available, we can lift the right arm and catch hold of the left fingers. And gazing back up once again. Exhale, release. Beautiful. So let's come back to downward facing dog, giving the right leg a good shake. And this time let's bring that left foot through for a lunge. Walking the left foot over to the right wrist and lowering the hips down, right leg in line with right hip. You might have the pillow underneath your left buttock. So taking both hands by the hips now, feeling that back bend come into play, the shoulder blades down the back, lifting up. If you feel any discomfort, do a modified version. Perhaps bringing the hands forward, keeping the spine long. So let's bend the right leg and take hold of the ankle. You may wish to stay here, or sliding the toes down into the crook of the elbow. If it's available, reaching left arm up to take hold, left hand taking hold of right fingers, gazing up. Exhale, release from Pigeon, lifting back to downward facing dog, giving your left leg a good shake. Perhaps practicing three-legged downward dog, then lowering to downward facing dog, to the knees, cross at the ankles, coming onto the bottom, and roll down onto your back. I invite you to bring the knees into the chest and gently rock from side to side. So let's lie in Savasana. Take a moment to check that your spine is long, that your skin's not being pulled in any places, your neck in line with your spine. Equal sensation on right and left side of the body. So your hands touching something on one side, remove it so you have equal sensation. Close down your eyes. Soften every muscle. Let them melt off the bones. The joints spacious and loosened, well lubricated. Be aware of the expansion of the skin with the inhalation and the contraction with the exhalation. Surrender to what is. You're in the perfect place, the perfect time. Everything is working out for your highest good right now. Let's take a couple of deeper breaths to enliven the body. Bring the knees into the chest, gently rock from side to side. Roll on to the right side. And when you're ready, come up to a seated position. Thanks for joining me in this practice today, which focused in on the hip opener pigeon, in Sanskrit, Eka Pada Rajakapotasana, bit of a mouthful. So hope you feel some opening there. It's washed away any dead cells, toxins, any negative emotions. We've moved through them in that posture. So have a great day or evening. Namaste.